What's going on, guys? This is Frank Hatzis, and you're in Rope Dart School. All right, darters, Rope Dart School today. I am so excited to talk to our guest. The reason for the excitement is because after rope darting now for 21 years, there's this new tech that's coming out, and it just seems like there's always new tech coming out. We're going to be exploring the idea of negative space tech. And my guest today has, I mean, if you've been paying attention, has been absolutely like, I don't even know where to begin, to be totally honest with you. This guy's an animal when it comes to rope dart tech in this kind of a way. It's super new and intriguing. And I'm so pleased to have Will Rogers as our guest.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on the show. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Now, before we begin, you're in Germany right now. Is that correct?
Austria, so next door neighbor.
Austria. Okay. And what's going on over there? What are you doing in Austria? Because clearly you're an American.
Interesting story there. I mean, I've done a lot of travel. My wife is German, and we were in the US living in Asheville, North Carolina. I guess it would have been about 2 years ago. And we were there during the hurricane. Hurricane Helene hit. And pretty much it was like a perfect storm, like a confluence of events where the hurricane hit. We received a letter from immigration, and after about $3,000 and uh, yeah, I don't know, maybe like 300 pages of paperwork and a year of waiting. She received a deportation letter that she had 33 days to vacate the country.
What?
And so we pretty much altered our plans. We had a legitimate marriage certificate, the whole 9 yards. The whole thing was like I still don't understand really. There were, I guess, some gaps because we were travelers. So I guess we didn't own a house or a car. So maybe in
Oh,
some way that signified to them that we weren't legit. But so then we just shifted course and came to Austria, and we'd been here before for like a winter season and a summer season. And meine Deutsch ist nicht so gut. My German is not so good, so I'm limited in the amount of jobs that I can take over here. But I can work a gondola at the ski lift, and so I was lucky enough to land a job there, and so I'm living in Innsbruck, Austria at the moment, and really beautiful, snowy, cold. But I still get out there and dart as often as I can.
well, we see that. I mean, you've been putting out quite a nice amount of content, as you know, in the recent past. So, I do have some real initial questions for you before we get into the negative space tech, and that is, well, first off, what got you into rope darting?
Will ABC? I mean,
Wildcat.
that's
Yeah.
that's the short answer. Yeah, I was at Plaything Festival. I mean, also a couple of really other talented artists, Brittany Starkey and Brandon Bacon. And I was at Plaything Festival, and I think that was maybe a year and a half ago or so, like June. And I went to the festival and I was into flower stick. I'd been flower sticking for about 4 or 5 years at that point, really obsessive about it. And I was a little bit of a purist with the flower sticks where I wouldn't touch another prop. I dabbled in poi, but it wasn't my thing. And for some reason, when I was just there at Playthink, I was playing with my flower sticks and I saw Will Cat and Brittany and Brandon, and they were all playing there in the little like pavilion area. And I remember just seeing some of the things that Will was doing, and I was like, wait, hang on. And my brain was just like my synapses were just almost burning out trying to figure out what he was doing. Um, and so my initial inspiration, was this kind of like, wow, there's so many with the flower stick, there tends to be more kind of linear pathways for what you can do. You can play with it and you can do a lot of interesting things. But with rope dart, I really feel like it's almost bottomless in terms of like, or ceilingless, whatever direction
Whatever.
that goes.
Yeah, both directions probably, right?
Yeah, yeah, ideally.
Yeah,
So
for
yeah, that
sure.
was really, and then Will gifted me my first rope dart. It was a sock with rice tied to like a paracord, and he gifted it to me. And on that first day, I guess I learned the Overlord and I learned the foot shot, knee shot, and I think dragon rat. Oh no, prodigal. And yeah, from there I was just totally hooked, lit a fire under me, and I wormholed and, then entered the world, and it's been beautiful ever since.
Nice. Yeah. Well, those three daughters you name, I'm actually going to throw a fourth one there in there because I know he was there. But Will Cat, Brittany, Brandon, and of course Bruce Bacon are all phenomenal rope darters. Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, all great rope darters, and they have the ability to light that spark under somebody or to just light that spark. So, I'm not surprised that they got you hooked on rope dart. But that's a great segue because I feel that, when you look at negative space tech, I would imagine. So let me back up here. I have so much. Hold on. So based on what you just said, you've only been rope darting for what, a year and a half? Is that about right? Okay. Because you're excellent. That's pretty wild. A year and a half. It's not a long time in the grand scheme of things, considering what you're doing with it. It's pretty impressive, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. So when it comes to that negative space tech, I feel like Will ACB, and guys like him and Juice Borst kind of were the first ones to do. Is that where did you get the inspiration? Is basically what I'm trying to ask for all this negative space tech.
I would say, yeah, Juice for sure has wandered into those realms. Will Cat for sure. Charlie,
Oh, sure.
Cassidy.
Yeah.
I think, all of these guys, there's kind of like, rope dart has little bubbles. And I would say there's like, the tech bubble, the people who really, tunnel in and get really into the intricacies of, things canceling out and yeah, really technical, layered things. And I think, yeah, just of course, I mean, Rope Dart Tech is just such an amazing Facebook page. Like the fact that all of these community members are there under one Facebook group and posting things. I mean, it's astounding. And so there's such a wealth of knowledge to be tapped there. So I think it's a combination of, just like inspiration, seeing other people, and then maybe my obsessive nature and just really dialing in on things and being willing to tie myself into really absurd knots and then just like not viewing that as an end point, like I messed up, but instead thinking, okay, cool, now I need to like find a way to continue that. And so I think, yeah, like I definitely drew a lot of inspiration, from other people. But I think it's also easy to get stuck in a realm where you just watch other people do something. And then, you can kind of put them so high on a pedestal that you just end up more absorbed in watching other people play than just like get out there and try it yourself. Mess up, find new pathways.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's some combination.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What was the last thing you said?
Oh, I just said there's some nice like nexus point in there where you can like, between like yeah, I would say like watching and getting inspiration and then going out and playing with your toolbox. Um so
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And, I just want to go back to something you said because when, we started, we were chatting the other day and you're like, what are we calling this thing? And, you've been calling it negative space. And to me, that makes the most sense because that's what you're doing. But I like what you said earlier. You said I've been trying to define it in my head, in my mind, and I can't. But you just said something, and that I was like, that's what it's like. Negative space tech. It's almost this process of not only stacking wraps, but this cancellation. That's the word this cancellation process of, but it's not, it's a cancellation process, but in a very non-traditional sense. Like I get it. I could do a dragon wrap and then reverse it, quote, cancel it out. But that's not what you are doing something like way beyond that when it comes to this idea of canceling out what you've done previously. And it's just, is that just playing around? Like, where is this? I've never seen it before the way you're doing it, period.
Mm.
So where's it coming from? I'm just curious. For me, like, I just need to know.
I'm trying to think like the original moment. It wasn't actually that long ago that I've made a couple of like really big breakthroughs recently in terms of like what like pulling the slack line. I was in Taiwan this past well, before winter. It was a different time of year there, but I was there for about 6 weeks, traveling around, drinking tea, playing rope dart in beautiful locations, and um, yeah, I found something where I don't know. I mean, a lot of it was inspired by Will when he did this, where he wrapped around his head with the line he takes with his anchor hand, takes the line, wraps it around the neck, and it creates in that like open space, it creates an opening between the line and then it's like around the neck. And then when you put that through here, um, and then you can continue to evolve that. And so I was thinking, oh, that's interesting. It's around the neck. I've also seen a lot of like kind of yeah, maybe like lasso tech stuff. And so I was like, oh, it's interesting if you combine, some of these and what happens if I just pull it around like that. And then I just start playing rope dart how I usually would. And so I almost would, at the beginning, I was just kind of starting my combos with this wrap, and then I would put it under my leg. And then I was thinking, okay, what happens if, so it goes, I'm sorry, some of my terminology is still like a little bit sparse because I haven't locked some of it quite in. It comes from the inside of the leg. What is that called? The holster side or
The
saddle?
holster, the inside would be the saddle side. The outside would
Okay.
be the holster side.
Okay. So saddle side, it enters from the saddle side, and then you catch it on the other side. It's wrapped around the neck. And so then you have it on the outside. And then when you put it back through, but you hold the line, and then it floats up. And if you cross the line with it, that then creates a bind. Um, Recently I discovered that like so before when I was doing that, I would do that and then maybe I would have to send it back over in a sneaky way, which would create like an unbind. That's the term I've been using and Will has been using. We had a video chat like the other week and
Okay,
we were both bind, unbind because I don't know, it's bound, now it's unbound. Um,
that's
uh,
can that's good. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's really good to know because I want to make sure that I'm using the terms that you guys are using properly. And unbind or unbound sounds perfect because that is, in essence, what you're doing. So I'm just trying to like after we hang up, I'm going to try to write a definition for negative space tech that I'm gonna like
Please
send to
do. I want
you
to see
and
it.
Willcat, and just you let me know, let me know if it's what it is because I'd love to be able to, I don't know, just add it to the overall rope dart lexicon. It's just such an amazing tech to do, you know?
I love it. I mean, it's very open-ended. There's a lot of possibilities that come from it. Like you could get into dark plane, and then when you're in dark plane and you have it wrapped around the neck, you can hold a pinch of line and you can send it back as if you were going to get out of dark plane, but instead you just cross the line. And then from there, you can either have that as like a bind that then you send through the leg somehow, whatever. Or you can then also, like, since it's already kind of in a slack lift position, you can use the line to like throw the dart over. And so there's all sorts of, and then you could spin, different directions, 180, 360, and then it's going to create a new sequence of like wraps or like twist in the line. And then that's interesting because maybe it's around the neck with like three counterclockwise twists. And then you look at that and you're like, okay, wait, so I could stand here and just go 1, 2, 3, and that will undo it. But is there a fancier way to do it? If I do it one time that time, then I throw it over my neck while spinning in this direction is essentially the same thing and looks a little snazzier. So yeah, it's
I would,
interesting the positions you find yourself in. Sometimes it's just like, what the hell? Like, this is a weird, never been here before. How can we undo it?
yeah. And you do all that while maintaining proper footwork and planes too. So it's like I, some of the things you guys do, it almost looks like something a beginner would do with a rope dart, except with you guys, it's so advanced. I'm trying to find a way to say it. It's like, it's almost like the professional version of something a beginner might just experiment with.
Totally.
If you follow that,
Definitely
I'm in a lot of ways because I watch, you and the aforementioned artist videos just to try to understand. We have a lot of snow on the ground and a lot of ice in New York right now, so I haven't been out rope darting. But it's as soon as I could get out again, it's this kind of stuff that I need to start playing with.
Please, I'd be happy to do like a video chat with you sometime, and like we could both have like darts, like get Wilcat on there too. Have like we could do virtual meetings or something. I'd be happy um to do that. Or if you
Uh,
have like an idea of like a tutorial or a specific move, just let me know. Either way.
I would love to do that with you and Will Cat. That would be amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's try to figure that out. I'm sure he'd be okay with it. So, yeah, let's do that. Now, we had briefly spoken a little bit, prior. Obviously, when I say spoken, I mean, texted. But you coming to Dart Arts in 2026, is that something that is a real possibility, or?
I would love to. I would love to because I mean, honestly, I'm a little bit obsessive. My wife Kate, she's I probably well, she handles it incredibly well and nurtures my passion and love for rope dart, but she also makes sure that I outsource and she wants me to be more in contact with, people doing this so I don't just like talk endlessly about things that are not necessarily in her realm of so I'm sure she would love for me to go to rope dart. I would love to go to rope dart. I want to plug into the community. I want to meet the people. I want to, yeah, learn. I mean, there's so much I have to learn because, like I say, I've been playing, a year and a half, and I've come quite a long way in some respects, but in other respects, like I know that like I don't have certain skills in my toolbox. There's certain things like speed. There's certain things like yeah, just having like a consistent flow where I just maintain this level of yeah, continuity and style and panache that I see, like guys like you or Arrow or yeah, I mean, so many people like that are just doing these unbelievable, sequences where they just maintain this perfect buttery flow. And, sometimes like when I pick up a rope dart, sometimes I can flow and it looks nice, I think, especially when I'm at a festival and I have more time to have that open-ended exploration. I get in the mood and feel it. But um yeah, I don't know. I feel like yeah, being at Dart Arts would be such a gift to my own progression. I already
Oh,
know. Yeah,
without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. And we all have, more to learn anyway. It's like it really doesn't end. So, for whatever it is you're doing, there's so many things for whatever it is we're all doing with a rope dart. There are way more things that we're not doing with it, and that's it's kind of like the way I've started to see it now, because all of us tend to fall into our own styles and we expand on it. I'm not necessarily, I mean, I'm going to play with the negative space stuff. I play around with, say, binding cradles, but it's not like part of if I was on fire and trying to like, be a badass or something. It's a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I like it, but
you're
I like
wushu.
this as what's that?
You're wushu. I mean, your foundation is wushu, Muay Thai. I mean, you've obviously branched like massively since then. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
sorry, continue.
Yeah. No, yeah, I just that I'm looking forward to playing around with this negative space tech because of its somewhat newness. I know folks have been playing around with it, but I guess ultimately what I'm looking forward to when it comes to negative space, the reason I want to learn it is so that I could start breaking it down into its nuts and bolts because that's just what my rope dart brain does with rope dart. And I encourage everybody, you should do it too. I mean, you would be able, better. I feel like if you understood the terms the way I did, and I understood the tech the way you did, we have to have like some kind of a baby, like a brainchild here to explain this tech. And I'm sure somebody like Wilcat would be a great intermediary because he does understand the language really well, and his tech is fucking sick. So
Yeah,
it's just
no doubt.
yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
well, I mean, then maybe between us three, we can have a conversation about that and yeah, see what we can't come up with. I think that would be really nice. Because yeah, I would love to put some terminology to it because yeah, that's another thing Will and I said is, we were playing around, we were doing we were messing around with he did this, negative this vertical net tracer and yeah, we were playing around with this and found some really interesting, combinations with how you could expand that, continue it, get out of it, binds, unbinds, and we were talking about, we were saying like, like the terminology is it's behind what's being done, like what is happening now, like these are new things. And I guess with terminology, it always comes like there's somewhat of a question. Do you want to keep the large umbrella and continue just breaking down into smaller, subcategories? Like it's all cradle tech. Like I don't know. I heard that like cradle is any rope on rope contact, and that's the way it's been defined in a lot of ways. And okay, but then on the other hand, then literally anytime the rope touches the rope, if it's something totally different, then it would have to become just increasingly kind of like jargonic terms that would be really inaccessible. So it's maybe it
Well,
is still a cradle, but there has to be something to differentiate it. So it's not I don't know.
I think that I know I love where you're going with this, Will. I really do. And I think that the solution is folks have to be a little bit more flexible with the evolution of terms because when the term cradle, the original term that we know it as modern rope darters came out, that's what we knew it as rope on rope contact. But rope dart has expanded in some ways much further beyond the original, like the original modern language. So the idea for me is I always try to be in life. This is a, rope dart will teach you life kind of a thing, but I try to be adaptable, flexible, and versatile. And when you take that approach and you kind of move with the evolution, everything's going to evolve anyway. That includes the rope dart. Already has. We're seeing it on our own lifetimes. It was a wushu martial arts weapon, and now we people tie teddy bears at the end of ropes, and so what I mean. Like it's how far
Another
off,
object.
right? It's as far off of a weapon as it's become. So it needs to, including the language, the whole thing needs to all evolve. And my whole thing is cool. We should all evolve together. We should all keep this community lexicon going, evolve it together. We have it's not like this thing like, oh, we have to write in a scroll and send it, to a far place to see if somebody else. Yeah, we get on a phone and we talk to each other and we post videos and we ask questions. And that's why things like negative space tech are coming out so rapidly. You rope darting a year and a half, being as good as you are with this entirely new concept is almost unfounded and unheard of. I mean, it's like here we are. For me, it's 21 years later, and now I'm learning negative space tech. You got it in a year and a half, and you kind of, you're a progenitor of it. That's how fast the rope dart can spread nowadays. So let us share ideas, share the language, and grow the art. That's my soapbox thing for the moment.
I love the soapbox. Agreed with everything. Systems are important, tradition is important, but it also has to adapt or it dies. Things
Yes.
things have to, evolution, yeah, change is the only constant, blah blah blah.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, like already what you've done with the rope dart, moving it from martial arts into the flow world and having the courage to like bridge that gap in that world and then to meet this synthesis already, it's like this, this Venn diagram is like it's incredible what's happening in the middle there. Like
Well,
the amazing.
th- thank you very much for that compliment. But it was not only me; it's actually a lot of people, which includes you, because the rope dart is so. There was never one day the rope dart wasn't here, and then the next day it was here. Okay, it was always here. It's just who knew about it, right? That's all really, That's all the question is who knew about it, because it really, it came back to year zero when we have some kind of evidence for it, right?
Sure.
So it takes all of us, and the fact that that growth is still happening and you're here now means you're just as much a part of that growth as any part I ever played. So, I just hope every roped artist understands that about themselves and knows that it's like they are the future. And it's like they are the expression of the rope dart. It's not one person. It never was. It never will be. It's the expression of the rope dart through all of us. And I'm sure you know that. And I'm not trying to sound preachy or anything, but you got me talking about rope dart. And that's it. That's how I get. I can't help it. Yeah. So I love the evolution of it. We're all a part of it. And the more folks that rope dart, the more people are a part of it.
Totally, totally. And I mean, the larger and wider that it gets as well, the more, yeah, the more rapidly it will expand, the more rapidly new things will come out. Like,
Well,
I, I have the opinion really, that the rope dart is in its infancy, in terms of possibilities. I mean, just because already what I can do with the rope dart, that also gives me some kind of insight into what I can't do with the rope dart, which is way more things than what I can. But then at some point in the future, there's going to be some person doing things that like I could never fathom. Just like
yeah,
maybe, 15, 20 years ago, negative space tech would have been something where people were like, what's happening? There's this jump in, and things, it's not like it progresses linearly. It's not like, the newest thing is always the best either. It's not like, novelty, is like correlated with like better either, but it is like widening. And
fighting. Yeah.
there are certain techniques that are combinations of different techniques. Like until Cassidy was doing like, if you see Cassidy's 100, tutorials thing on YouTube, like this, like this is a rich pool of stuff to
Yeah.
pull from.
Yeah.
And, if this didn't exist or he hadn't, really like, I don't know if he really like originated this. Like, I know he did the most probably in terms of expanding and having the different types of cradles. But I mean, if this language and these different things hadn't been discovered and like pushed forward into the community, I mean, people aren't going to just suddenly start like, they wouldn't play how they do now. I
Yeah.
wouldn't play how I do now because I wouldn't like, yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
well,
jump. Like, you have to have some kind of progression, but yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
yeah. No, yeah, I agree. And, we have this like worldwide rope dart mastermind, and that's why it's now able to grow as fast as it's growing. Um, I guess I've seen a lot. I haven't seen enough, and I know I haven't seen it all. So,
Totally.
yeah,
I like it.
yeah.
I like it. Yeah, same here.
Well, I don't know if you have any other thoughts on negative space tech that you'd like to share with the audience.
Yeah, for sure. Let's think. So, I mean, I don't see a lot of people working in the negative space, and I would say like, don't be afraid to experiment with it, play around with it. There's like, um, I think a really good entry point is this like neck tracer, vertical neck tracer that Will pulled out, where you're pulling it around, throwing it through, and then shooting it over. And really like break down and pay attention to what's happening because sometimes like the line coming for your anchor hand will be under and sometimes it will be over. And that basically means that you'll just need to unbind in the opposite direction. I just discovered a few days ago that you can. I found this really cool move. I guess you saw it where you take this vertical neck tracer and you turn it horizontal and you go through, continue around, and you can make that infinite and do this kind of like movement. And I just discovered another combo the other day where I did that, from a little bit of a different cradle position where I had bound the rope and then I was like, oh, and I can turn that sideways. And so it opened up this whole new, it's like if variety is the spice of life, then like, surely that applies to planes as well. So, I don't go into the horizontal plane as often as I should. There's so many people, Olivia Venner, Adam Bush, there's people out there that just like they kill it. And they're turning it sideways and making it Dresden blue. I mean, yeah, there's so many people that just they play with it beautifully horizontally. I know a couple of slick moves horizontally, but my toolbox is not very wide, and I can't just continuously keep it in this. Christian Panda, another person, does beautiful horizontal stuff.
Okay.
But I have a lot to learn in this respect, and so I was excited to find another entry point into the horizontal that also incorporated this negative space tech. So yeah, that was fun because then you can unbind not only vertically but horizontally. And horizontal unbinding it's a really cool feeling because you're spinning in the cyclonic way. You're holding the lead line is running down here, the anchor line, and then the lead line you're holding a little like pinch of it, and you like kind of wrap it, and then you can release it, and it's very satisfying. So yeah, I really look forward to what the community comes up with when they start playing with it. But I would say when you do it, really take your time, slow down, tinker, experiment, put it here. What happens? Okay, then I'm moving it back. But understanding some of the foundational principles is very helpful. So like if I were to come to Dart Arts, I would love to teach a entry class into the tech and just some of the foundational principles for how that works.
Well, do yourself a favor then, fill out the Dart Arts instructor application, even if you can't make it. Because so here's the thing for anybody listening. If you're interested in teaching at Dart Arts, fill out the application. It's floating around, or you can ask any of the organizers for it. We'll send it to you happily, because that closes, I believe, April 1st or 30th. I don't know. I have to see. It closes in April, and as long as you fill it out, you have the option of teaching. You could always, apply to teach, get accepted, and not teach. But if you don't apply and then you want to go and teach, you're not going to be able to. So you might as well apply. And, we're accepting 24 instructors, which is a nice amount. We can't take everybody, but, we're trying to find some new talent out there. Let's find some folks that, have something new to share like you do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would be honored to teach it at Dart Arts, so I'll go ahead and get on that application. I am known to procrastinate, so I'll try to go against the grain of my nature and get it done beforehand.
Good. Well, I am known for being a pain in the ass with deadlines. And, when people miss it, I point to the deadline. I say, did you make it? They say, no. I say, well, that's it. You answered your own question. So.
Yeah, I understand. It's black and white. So yeah. Okay. It's good to know. I mean, sometimes, knowing that boundary is there is like the bit of encouragement that a procrastinator needs to.
Yeah. Well, and let me tell you, for right now, the application is simple. It's not like you have to give some crazy long curriculum. All we're asking for, we just want basic information, and we just want to know what is an idea that you have and a literal brief 2 or 3 sentence like if you get accepted, you're going to be asked to give a more in-depth curriculum. That's not what we're asking for right now. We're just trying to understand who actually wants to teach at Dart Arts and what are they bringing. Because if everybody says negative space tech, it'll be fun for the first couple of classes, but then it's going to be really boring. So we try to have a wide variety of classes. So, yeah, I suggest anybody fill it out sooner than later. And, it's just to bring this up too, because, the more that you were speaking before, I realized that I actually did learn some negative space tech years ago from Cassidy Barney. He taught it to me. He came and visited Dart House, and he taught it to me and Christian Panda. And it was in the form of binding cradles, because that's what he was showing. But now he showed me this neck one, and it was like you had to kind of loop it around and go through the negative space. He also taught me the bank robbers hitch, which is it's a negative
horse.
Yeah.
To like the
yes. Yeah. Yeah. So the horse would stay because the the side that the horse pulls on will only tighten, but the other side that's left dangling, you could just pull down and the horse will leave, is free easily. So they call it the bank robber's knot or a hitch or whatever you want to call it, because a bank robber needed something, had to get, number one, make sure the horse didn't run away, and two, make sure they could just, unhitch it very quickly. So, yeah, Cassidy has really been, I guess he's kind of like one of the real first guys to do this stuff. It's a little bit different what you're doing in the expansion of it, but I mean, I think Cassidy was probably the seed of this, the way I'm thinking of the modern history of rope dart.
Could well be, yeah, could well be. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people have done, like, there are a lot of moves that move in the negative space. I mean, I'm trying to think of like a definition for negative space that like I use. I think of like anything that's moving in between the gaps between like the body and the line, and like the sort of liminal. Oh God, I'll just use like a synonym now. Liminal spaces. Oh God, that just shows I don't have a great definition. It's moving in these weird gaps of the body that you wouldn't necessarily. It's the space between different body parts is how I think of it. But I
Yeah.
think there are like, if you put it under the lead leg, loop it under the lead leg, then loop it under the anchor leg, and the line goes and the dart shoots over your anchor hand and over the anchor line, then you're bound. You're in this kind of, it's basically just wrapped once around your body. And if you pull it, it just dook, dook. It's like perfectly tied like that. You have a couple ways. Then you could either then kind of like let it float back and unbind. Then it's in an unbound position. But then if you shoot it, you still can't shoot it this direction. You'll have to shoot it this direction. So that opens up a lot of really cool opportunities with like pirouettes, et cetera. And so that's what's happening a lot of the time in my videos. A lot of the time when you have a bind, here or there, depending on which way it entered the bind and which way it exited the bind, it then requires a pirouette in one of two directions, and either 180 or 360. Maybe I'd love to see it. There's like even 720, or whatever, like, binds that require that out of it.
You haven't done a 720 yet? I feel like you have, or maybe I missaw it. Maybe it was like more of a 540. Maybe Olivia, I mean, I thought you did something the other day, a video I saw where your exit shot, you spun, it was at least a 540. No?
Yeah,
Maybe?
I did. So yesterday I did create like I know there was kind of a weird one. So like that was kind of a cool discovery. Will and I discovered that actually, wow, if you do like the vertical neck tracer, go over, and then you go over again the line, and then it creates this loop. So a lot of the times also when you trace the line, what you'll notice is it just like it creates a loop. And then with the loop, I just like decided, okay, I keep the momentum of the dart and I put the loop over my head. The dart continues its trajectory. And then I thought, okay, cool. So then when it's coming down, my neck is in the loop. I catch the line. I loop it through the negative space here. Then I put it over my head. And then I have to like, track it correctly so that I actually use as a fulcrum point, like my the back of my hand. And then the dart comes. Oh, looky here. The dart comes, handy prop. Product placement, Rope Dart Academy. And you you hit it with the back of the hand, and then it goes through the negative space again. And then as it shoots out, then I spun, I think it was a 540 in this direction, and like caught the line again, rotated 180, and then it has to come over the neck and then into the negative space here, and then rotate again 180, and then it releases through this side. So like there's a lot of really like, I don't know, I figured out a lot by chunking. So this is a term in language when you're like learning a language. I only know this because I had to put myself through the pains of learning German since last December. So I know that like a lot of the times it's more helpful to think of terms like maybe an easy sentence or like two or three words that goes together, and the brain will often remember these, and it will like lead to learning the language faster than if you take discrete words and try to build a language from words. Sometimes it's better to just have like chunks. And I think of with negative tech, I use this a lot where I have chunks where I'm like, oh, I know in this position, like there's these two moves that will put me into this situation, which then maybe I know from that position another chunk in my like vocabulary that will allow me to do something else. And so I think of a lot of the times like it yeah, this is how I think is in kind of chunks of, not only single moves, but like moves and their consequences, and then their consequences after that. And then yeah. Anyways, I don't know if that like makes it, but yeah, I guess that was a 540.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the idea of chunking is really cool. I hope the listeners take that one home with them. That's a really cool concept. When obviously it's a language term. When learning a language, I like how you applied it to rope dart. And I thought immediately when you said it, when you started explaining what you meant by chunking, I was like, oh, it's almost like when we used to put wushu forms together for competition. It would be, learn, say all the individual techniques. Fine. Now you need to learn the sequence, the order of operation. You would chunk them. You do the first three, you drill that. Then you do the next three, you drill that, and then you would drill the in betweener. Actually, I wrote about it in the philosophy part of my book, on the construction of a form. I'm curious. I'd love to hear your. I know you don't have it, but if you get it, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. It's the anatomy of a form, I think, or the construction of a form, and it kind of sounds like chunking, like what you're saying.
I mean, I think it's a exact correlate. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I guess the idea is that then you work that form until it's in your bones, until you can do it in your sleep almost.
Oh
And then
yeah.
from there, you automatically have this like whole web of transitions that you can connect. And, if you learn enough forms or chunks, then I think of a form as maybe just a longer version of chunks. Maybe a form is a few different chunks glued together.
I think that's exactly what it is. I mean, while you're speaking about it, again, while you were just talking, I'm like, oh my God, this sounds like putting together a wushu routine. So I think that's exactly what it is. So
Totally.
yeah, very
Totally.
cool.
Yeah, and I think it's a useful way to learn both languages and rope dart. And it is a language. It's a language of movement.
Oh,
That's what
oh,
rope dart
absolutely.
is.
Hey, listen, like 100%. I mean, I've been screaming up and down that it's a language for years. I'm glad that it's finally catching on. It's like, guys, it's a language, like just like everything else. It's so not unique in that sense. It's a language like skiing is, like snowboarding is, like skateboarding. It's a language like anything else. So.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, before we go, I wanted to just ask you something that, especially when I've never really spoken to somebody before, that I would ask them. And that is, if you had the opportunity to spend a weekend rope darting with somebody, who would that person be? And, what would make you choose them?
Okay. I know you have a rule to this, it being one person.
It,
And
it
I
is
know you're
one. Yep.
very black and white about this rule. Um, I do, however, you might not like this, but I do have a small loophole um, to answer two people, and you have to allow me it because one is fictional. It's hypothetical, so it's like we're bending reality to provide that answer.
But that could be your one answer then.
Sure. Okay. Then, I mean, okay. Well, you probably know my like real life person who exists now. I'm like name dropping him all the time, but I won't say the name so that you can't like pin me down for that. But so I would say I heard like I've listened to all the interviews. Your son is named Thomas. Is that right?
Yep. Thomas Angelo.
Okay. So then Thomas in 30 years.
Oh, wow. What an awesome answer. That's cool. Wow. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Where's I mean, where's Rope Dart gonna be like in 30 years? So like he's gonna automatically inherit this tech that hasn't even been developed yet. He has all the influences. I mean, assuming that he does, darting, like maybe he's really into ballet or underwater basket weaving. But
Yeah. Well, Sarah and I are adamant that he can do whatever he wants. We hope it's rope dart, but he is allowed to do ballet or underwater anything or whatever he wants. My only requirement is that he puts his heart into it and that he expresses that heart outward. That's all I ask. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. I hope it's rope dart though, because it's got to go somewhere, right? I mean, I have my stepdaughter too,
Yeah.
but the place would probably fall apart. And I love her, but like it'd probably fall apart in like a week or less.
Yeah, sure, sure. Holes in the wall. It's
Oh,
cold in
my
New York.
peanut. Oh, I love my peanut. Anyway, that was a really intriguing and cool answer. I can't wait to tell Sarah what you said about who you'd like to rope dart, who you'd like to rope dart with. And I want to say that, look, this is actually the first time we've ever spoken, and you're awesome. I'm so happy that you're part of the rope dart community. I think you're bringing something very special, unique, new. You're clearly a nice person, approachable. I really hope you come to Dart Arts. Look, for you and anybody else, if you want to, like, you're not going to go anywhere on the planet and level up more than, like, you go to a festival and level up. That's not what I'm saying. You're not going to
Sure.
level up like Dart Arts. It's just not going to happen. So,
No.
Everybody else, go to Dart Arts. It's awesome.
Osmosis.
Yeah, it is. It's a mastermind. And look, if we're able to do this over phones, imagine what happens when you're actually in the same room. It's quite special, and you don't have to ask me. Just look at anybody before Dart Arts and look at them after Dart Arts. You're gonna be like, wow, it's in 3 days. They're a different rope dartist in 3 days. So
Damn. Yeah, yeah. Gotta go. I mean, for sure, I'll try to make it this year, but I know it's coming to Europe the year after, and that's super exciting. And in the meantime, I know like, yeah, so I don't know, time is okay. Can I continue to open my mouth and
I'd love to hear. I would love to hear what you had to say.
So I was just gonna say that in Europe, like I look forward to. I think that my wife and I are moving to Vienna, and I know Charlie lives in Vienna, Red Rope Charlie. So
Hmm.
I really look forward to meeting up with her. I think she would be a fantastic person to bounce ideas off of, and
Yeah.
to just yeah, um, someone who can really just kind of I don't know, explore and tinker with. It would be so fun. And then Juice, he's in the Netherlands, so I sent him a message the other day, and we were talking, and I told him come to Phoenix Fire Convention because this is a cool. I don't know if you have heard of this one. It's a big one in Europe.
I have. I want to go to Phoenix Fire very badly. I would
Cool.
love to go to that festival.
Come. Yeah,
I
come.
need so I have a little bit of a rule. I need to be teaching at festivals that I'm a teacher of rope dart. That's what I do.
Totally.
So when I go to anything, it doesn't matter what it is. I even when I do tournaments, I teach workshops and classes because I'm a teacher. I don't go to anything. I'm a dart head, bro. Like I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything if it doesn't have to do with me and rope dart. And when it comes to festivals, I want to be teaching. I don't want to. Performing is cool. I don't care about that. I want to be there teaching. That's it.
I'm much more interested in pedagogic darting as well. I like teaching. I like teaching as well. I love sharing concepts. I love exploring concepts. The performance aspect, honestly, for me, I I want to do it just because it's a barrier I want to move past, but I don't actually really care at all about that. I'm
Yeah.
much more interested in like what is possible with the art. I hardly ever light it on fire. I mean, I think it's cool. I love fire, but I can do so much more. And I was the same with Flower Six. Flower Six, same thing. It's like my
Mhm.
day props I can do way more with, and I can actually like work for my whole toolbox. So like anytime I pick up my fire toys, it feels like a regression.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, so we don't like, speaking for myself, I don't fire dart to learn new tech or drill new things. It's like, it's a different kind of experience. I like, for me, I like a Cobra dart. Like, that's just what I like to use. I'd rather use that than anything else, like,
yeah.
period. That's just what I like. But, when it comes to a fire dart, it's like I'm fire darting for different reasons. And it's a different type. It's still my enjoyment, but it's a different kind of enjoyment, you know? So it's
Totally.
hard. It even though it's all rope dart, it is a little difficult, I think, to compare the two because
Yeah.
you know, lighting it on fire it's not it serves a different purpose or function. At least for me, that's how I feel about it.
No, I totally agree. It feels different. It feels different. And I guess I prefer it like in day mode. But that being said, like I would like to expand my fire repertoire. And I mean, the dream of every like, every person who's really, really interested in something like that is, can you monetize it? Can you make it at least like a side hustle or something? So I love that idea. That would be cool. And I guess, performing is one way to do that. But I am also more interested in, potentially teaching at different places. And, I think a big goal of mine then is to learn the terminology really solidly and then be able to, hold like niche classes in a specific area or, something like this. And I just went to the first night of like the in Innsbruck, they have a flow gathering every Friday. And I went to the flow gathering and sadly no other rope dartists, but I brought like 5 rope darts, laid them out, and was like, hey guys, like they're here.
Yeah, nice.
And I did end up, giving a quick, breakdown to a couple people, but it was poi and contact staff everywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I'd love to see more.
you need to be the salt then. You got to be the salt of the rope dart earth, and you have to bring the rope dart to where the rope dart isn't. And
Yeah,
that's the task. See, a lot of times rope dartists get this wrong. And I'm glad you brought this up because it's a little bit of a knowledge bomb that I've come across after more than 2 decades now of running around the world teaching people rope dart. And people, they're not going to come to you. Not in
mm,
men's. They're not going to come to you. You have to go to them. And when you
mm.
go to them and you bring it to them and you do what you did by laying out rope darts for them, then you're going to start to see some magic happening. But I've been rope darting now for 21 years, and exactly 0 people have knocked on my door and said, I just got to learn rope dart from you.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You know,
Around the
so
world.
you
Yeah.
have to. I'm very big about expression when it comes, especially rope dart. Rope dart is my life. So when I say these things, I'm applying it to rope dart. I'm about
Mm.
expression. It's great to have the rope dart for yourself, and you should, but it should also be expressed because you never know who you're going to inspire or influence. You don't know
Sure.
the impact you can have. Look, I've been doing this a long time. People tell me the rope dart saved their life. They say things that are, I'm not going to, repeat some deep things, but like you get the idea. It's like it means a lot to some people. So I always try to hold it in that respect and regard. A little bit of a
Yeah.
tangent there, everybody. I apologize.
Useful tangent, incredibly useful tangent, I think, because yeah, and connected to what we're saying, because yeah, I feel the same. I mean, we did so when I was living in Asheville, North Carolina, little hippie town, amazing, beautiful, beautiful town. Not much of a flow scene. There was a little bit, but not too much. Like, and what there was almost all at night. And so yeah, my wife Kate and I, we started having we both worked at this tea house. We love tea. That's our other passion. Yeah, my other passion. She's a knitter and other things of that sort. But yeah, we would have these like epic, in my opinion, small scale, but epic, like every I think it was Wednesday, it doesn't matter. But it was one day a week. We would just like lay out in the middle of the park in the most conspicuous space where all the runners go by, everyone, there's the LARPers, a lot of the times the LARPers are nearby battling with their battle axes and swords and whatnot. And we would have a blanket and we would have, a kettle of tea and, legitimate. Maybe you can see I have my whole like tea collection up
Oh,
there.
okay. All right, sure. I guess I've been staring at that the whole time and I didn't know what it was. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's all our tea. We got like a whole box of it, but so we would just lay it out, and I think the two go quite well together. And we'd serve people tea, and then we had an entire blanket full of rope darts and other flow toys, and people would run by and sometimes they were interested and we said, join, come, just
mhm.
like turn it into a festival, a little festival of a day. If you have free time and, the want, then please, we'd love to have you. And it was growing little bit by little bit until we left. So it was kind of sad, to have to leave on those terms. With her having the green card denied. But that being said, like, yeah, I really hope that it didn't die entirely, and that people are still kind of meeting up there. I don't know what it's
Yeah,
like for.
I think so. I know Annie Wingo is down there. She's a roped artist, and I think she definitely keeps her practice up. And I think there's a couple other cats down there that I think Mouse is from that area. I'm not 100% sure, to be totally
Really?
honest with you, but
What? I didn't
yeah,
know these people.
I don't know. They're good people. I'm not 100% sure. I know Annie is 100% from the Asheville area. So there's also a guy, Tim Scott. Now we're going back, geez, a decade. Tim Scott was a guy in Asheville, really good roped artist, but not he. I don't know what he ever did with it, or he might just be one of those guys that was good with roped art, and that was just good enough for him. But he was really good at roped art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I mean, it has all the potential. Like Asheville, you would think this is the place that's going to have a fantastic flow scene. It has a little bit, but needs to be kindled. So, please, I hope we may make the move back to the States at some point. We're not quite sure yet. Depends what happens, what everything's looking like in the future. But we may, maybe moving back, and I think it would be Asheville. So I hope someone out there is kindling the flame, and yeah, hopefully when we return, there's a thriving scene.
Well, I'm sure that hopefully anyone listening to this it'll put the pun intended fire under their ass and get it going. I think there is a scene there, though. I really do. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't live there, but
Yeah.
I do know Annie's there, and she roped arts. She keeps up with her practice, so there's somebody there roped art, and that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Man, I wish I'd known these people when I was there. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Very good. All right, brother. Well, I feel like I understand negative text space now in a way that I didn't before our conversation. I'm looking forward to putting together, I don't know, some kind of a definition of it. Uh, Even more so, I'm looking forward to learning it and watching you and a lot of the aforementioned artists keep coming out with this stuff. I just saw Will Cat posted a video. He did a neck thing and then shot a dagger, a blade into an apple or whatever fruit it was. Yeah, it's just like it's ridiculous. I love that. That's the first kind of thing I see when I open up my feed is like rope dart videos. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, same here, same here. Yeah, that was amazing, by the way. Like I haven't seen anyone do negative space work with like a dangerous implement, tied to the end of it. So seeing him do that, I was like, damn, bro, you swinging that knife like it's in the negative space. So
No, no,
it's
I saw it. I
like,
saw it. I was like, geez, I was like, bro, like inside no less. Like it's like
yeah,
what? Like all right, dude. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Will's breaking my mind all the time. I like your meme you posted the other day about how we all need like therapy, like or like being awake at night. Like, how did Will Cat do that?
yeah, yeah. It's I miss
Crazy.
him. I had a great time with him at Dart Arts this past year. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, it's 2 years in a row. The most amount of stuff I left with that I learned, I got from Will Cat. That's 2 years in a row now. Yeah, he's just that good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he got a lot from you and all the other guys too. So yeah, like you say, hive mind, and yeah, hopefully I can be a part of that this upcoming year.
That's on you, brother. Just keep doing what you're doing. Share your knowledge, ask questions. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions still. I'm going to be watching your content, and I want to start some level of breaking it. I'm sure Will Cat already has some ideas. I'm sure you do too. And let's make sure that we don't let that slide. Let's get the three of us on a call and figure out what's going on here.
Let's do it. Let's do it. That sounds fantastic.
Well, it
All
was an
right.
absolute pleasure to meet and speak with you. I'm glad I got to know you a little bit better, and your warm personality certainly matches your phenomenal rope dart skills. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
For sure, brother. And for everybody listening, we love and appreciate you all. Peace, love, dot life.